So this is my first Twitchage. I have my phone with the chat on it, so I only have 9 viewers. I'm gonna wait a little bit for more people to show up. I might. Thanks, Gov Healthcare. Um, I may get rid of the border just so you can see the rest of my screen because I got a lot of stuff full, but we'll see. If it becomes an issue, I'll turn it off. Um, Need some hold music. How do I play hold music? Guess I don't really need these. Oh, I do need those. These are my microphones. Doi. Sorry, I'm not good at technology. All right, we got 18 viewers. I feel like that's a good number. I don't remember how many we had in the chat, but I feel like it was close to 18. And probably only 2 of those are trying to get me to become famous. These are my microphones. Doi. Sorry, I'm not good at technology. So there's a delay on my chat, so I'm just going to turn that off and assume y'all can hear me in real time. All right, so yeah, I'll be looking at the chat, so feel free to interrupt with questions, or I have Slack open. In fact, I'll post there. Spelling's the worst, isn't it? Okay. Ooh, John D. Allen got something to say. All right. So today we're learning about Laravel Livewire. Before I jump in, quick introduction on me. I would probably consider myself a full stack dev. Probably not the best at either front end or back end, but pretty good at both, I guess. And so Livewire was made for me. You can skip all this intro text. So right now I'm on Laravel-livewire.com. And this intro is it's really cute if you look at it. But if I were to introduce Livewire, I would describe it as a tool built for full stack developers. It's a little bit. I found this meme that kind of captures it really well. I guess it's just a comic. I don't know when a comic becomes a meme. Maybe when there's different versions of it. Anyway, you got the mermaid with the back end being Perl, Asp, Puchp, Java, Oracle. And then, of course, in 2018, JS got tacked on the front end, and the whole thing's JS. And then, in 7 years from now, the user's getting spit on by your app. Spa is coming out of the mouth. I missed that. Okay. Anyway, this is kind of what it is. So, typically you have the front end and the back end, and you have some sort of API or something defined to where they're both kind of talking about the same stuff and they communicate with one another. And this is a really, there's a reason people develop like that. Typically your front end people are specialized and they're really good at front end, and your back end people are really good at back end. And as long as they're speaking the same language, then it'll all integrate perfect without any problems, as we all know. But what's really cool about Livewire is it kind of mixes the two. So as you'll see, we're working. You basically your front end and your back end kind of disappear, and a lot of the automatic on-page update stuff just kind of works. It's very magical, and a lot of libraries nowadays, especially, are very magical. And so, I don't know. And when I say that, I mean it's just like super complex and it kind of just works. And we'll kind of scratch the surface of that, but this isn't going to be super technical in terms of explaining how it works, but we will show what you can expect in terms of what your options are for working with stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. So that was it. That was the whole intro. Now we're going to start coding because I think that's the most interesting parts of these sorts of things. So again, feel free to interrupt on here. Oh, John's talking about Bitcoin. Cool. Okay, so feel free to interrupt on Slack or the Twitch chat. I have that running right here in front of me. So it appears to be a delay, so I might be delayed in my response. Okay, so you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this border off so you can see my browser better. Let's see. Presenter banner. No. There we go. Cool. Okay. If anything's getting covered by any of that Chrome, let me know, and we'll clean it up. So I'm running this on Livewire local. I went ahead and did a bunch of stuff before this because I didn't want to spend too much time on Laravel itself. We're going to kind of breeze over some of that stuff because this is really about Livewire, not just Laravel. But to kind of set the scene, I am running, there's a few things I'm running here. I have Laravel Homestead, or I think Homestead is a Laravel thing. And it's basically a virtual machine within which I am running my local install. And it handles mapping, it spins up a database and I'm just running it over Vagrant. So you can see I've SSH'd into it up here in this corner. So this is a tunnel into my virtual machine that I'm running it on. And so I'll be running a lot of stuff in here as it relates to interacting with Artisan. And so if you don't know, Artisan is a command line tool from which you can generate models and controllers and migrations and all the stuff that kind of comes with a Rails style framework like Laravel. Down here, I don't think we're going to use this. This is just Homestead itself. So Homestead, again, it's like a virtual machine. It is a virtual machine. And I've already configured it to host this new project that I'm working on. So when I go to livewire.local, this is mapped to the virtual machine, and I get the default Laravel, new app thing that I started. Let me look at my cheat sheet real quick. Where's code? Oh, it closed. Okay. So that was the one window I needed. Okay, yeah. So at this point, I've instantiated Laravel and knitted it. Like I said, Homestead, got my host mapped, and using Composer, of course, because it's PHP. I ran create project to create just a general Laravel project, set up my environment file. I'm running my virtual machine, and then I went in there and ran PHP Artisan migrate. And here is my, I forgot to clean this up. Maybe. So I have a database set up for it, and just to be safe, let's go ahead and delete this. I kind of did a dry run of this before tonight, just to make sure everything was going to be there. Let's see. So that's up. Let's go ahead and migrate. So this will set up all of our base stuff. So another thing that I'm gonna have to run in here is sessions. For some reason, I have to make my own sessions. Sorry. Hold on. There we go. Create the sessions table. Very good. And then I'll run migrate again. Apologies. What the heck? Okay. Cool. So now I have the sessions table. Let's refresh this. And hopefully I still have Laravel. Okay, very good. So now I got the basic thing up. So let's jump into my project. So if you're new to this, again, if you've never used Laravel, we're not going to get too deep into it, but the main things you're going to concern yourself with today are the migrations folder. So, this is where you, and let me know if my text needs to be bigger or anything. I got to update some stuff, evidently. Okay, so we have migrations, of course. We have models, and by default, it just creates a user model. We have controllers, which we're not going to use. And we have, let's see, and then we have views. And some of my folders are still there because I get reset and did not delete them. Cool. Okay, so now we're set up. So let's go ahead and install Livewire. So we're just going to kind of follow along with the docs because this is how I develop. I just kind of open the docs and go through them. So the first thing we'll do is we will install Livewire. So composer require Livewire, Livewire, require Livewire, Livewire. And that's going to download and install a bunch of stuff. While that's going, let's pick something to do. So like any good talk, we need to have some contrived web app. And since Jace thought I was talking about LimeWire, I think we're going to build a LimeWire clone. Now, it won't actually be functional in terms of P2P stuff, but we'll just have files that can be shared, and we'll just set it up to where you put a URL, name of the file, and then add it to a list, and then it'll just be a big list. And maybe if we have time, we'll add a search to it. First thing we need to do, we have Livewire installed. Very good. We're going to make a model for just a regular Laravel model for our, what's the code again? Make model. I always have to look that up. Make model, and we're going to call it illegal download. Is that how you spell illegal? Are there two L's? Yeah, cool. There's two. Is there two? That seems weird. Whatever. We're gonna have two L's. Yeah, there's gotta be two L's in illegal. Okay, cool. So we now have a general model. And again, this is straight up Laravel stuff. We'll go into app, models, illegal download. So this is our illegal download. Very good. I forgot to make a migration with it. Shoot, what's the... I gotta look it up. I normally do dash dash or dash m or whatever. Make migration. Oh, duh. Okay. Make migration. Create illegal download. Cool. Okay, so that'll give me a migration. That's users. Cool. So with a migration, you have an up and you have a down. Did I title that wrong? Who knows how they do? This is one of the things with working with Magic frameworks is you gotta, you have to case things correctly. I don't know if this is, yeah, I think that'll match. That should match up. Someone tell me if it won't. Okay, I guess we'll find out if it won't. So when you're creating a model or a migration, you kind of define the model here by just, here's what our columns are going to be. So like I said, we need a download URL. And so our type, we're just going to make a string column. Cool. That'll be our URL. And then we'll give it a title. So the title of our download. And then we'll, let's just track the number of downloads it's had. And then, and actually that should be an integer. And we'll give it a default of 0. And then we'll also, let's have upvotes and downvotes. Whoops. Upvotes and downvotes. Cool. I mean, I really think that's all we need. Sure, very good. So now we'll run our migration. PHP to migrate. We've got an illegal download. Awesome. Okay, so now we have our illegal download model. Like I said, with when you first install Laravel, it creates this welcome screen. How do I clear this? Okay, cool. Whenever I start Laravel, this is my default welcome screen, my view. We don't need any of that stuff, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell it to F off. And I'm going to kind of do no CSS. I mean, maybe we'll do CSS later. I don't know. I don't really want to deal with CSS. We're just going to make something that's functional. So that's the cool thing about Livewire, I should add. While it is a kind of a front-end framework, it can work with basically anything. It kind of acts on its own, and we can talk about it later in the Q&A, but it's just basic JavaScript that's running on the page. So if you need to run it alongside something else or inside something else, it's actually pretty easy to do it. It's probably easier to run stuff inside of it instead of the other way around or alongside it. But there are ways that you can have your Livewire component speak to a separate Vue component, or React or jQuery or vanilla, whatever you want. It's pretty easy to get information in and out of it, which is pretty neat. So we'll just call this Livewire LimeWire, unless anyone's got a better pun. And then we'll just make sure that we deleted that and it's showing up. Cool. Okay, so there's my page. So we're ready to rock. So one thing I left off with setting up Livewire is we also have to add these little guys. And so what these will do is, like I said, it's just basic JavaScript. So we can put our Livewire scripts. They need to be echoed out, which just includes the script files before the footer. And then we'll put our styles up in the header. Yeah, and so now if I save that and we refresh it, again, you'll see up here in the head, we have some styles that it spits out with a bunch of basically stuff to hide it while it's instantiating. And then it's got this Livewire JS and some other stuff it throws in here, which is pretty neat. Okay, so we're ready to roll. So for our program, I think we should have I think we should just let's just list out all the downloads we have, and then we'll put a form at the top where you can go ahead and add a download. So that's what we'll do. So in order to do that, again, if we have 3 components, basically we have our add download form, which lets you submit a download. And then we have our list of illegal downloads. And what we'll do for that is we'll have the list itself as a view, and then we'll have a separate view component for each item in that illegal download list. So we're going to create 3 Livewire components. Again, referencing this, we are going to make a component. So just again, it uses Livewire, and so artisan. It just gives you this make :Livewire, and then whatever the name of your component is. So we'll PHP artisan make Livewire. We'll call it let's say add download will be our first component, and then we'll add another one that is just the download itself, and then we'll do list downloads. Cool. So you can see that whenever I run that, it creates this new class file, which is kind of the backend class, and then it creates a view, which is obviously the front end Blade view. And so again, that's a cool thing about Livewire is it uses Blade files, which is a Laravel templating language that if you've used Laravel for creating views at all, you'll see that's what it does. Oh, I have an unnoticed thing here in random. Cool. Oh, Klein, always clowning on me. Ugh. I'm just kidding. That's really funny. Infinite Charlies. That's good. Good stuff. Okay. So we have our components. Let's go look at what we got here. So in our classes, where was that? We don't need our migrations anymore. We don't need our models. We'll just get rid of all that. Where did that class go? HTTP Livewire. Okay, cool. Livewire. Cool. So for each of these, it creates a class, obviously, and it extends a component. And so obviously any Livewire component is going to extend this. It named it for me, and it gave me a render function, which is going to render my view. And then this view file, of course, refers to views, Livewire, and here it is. And so you get a cute little comment inside of a div. So the first thing about all these components is, that it has to have a single top level element. This is probably familiar to you if you've used other kind of front end things. So let's start with listing our downloads. So again, this is Blade, so you can use for each. So we're obviously going to iterate over each download we have. So let's not worry about. Whoops, I copied this off of another app I worked with. So, and for each, and then we'll beautify. Okay. So instead of a div, let's make this a UL because we're going to list them out in a list. And again, I'm foregoing any sort of fancy, front-end CSS stuff. Just in the spirit of early software like LimeWire. So I'm gonna go ahead. I haven't done it yet, but in my class, I'm gonna go ahead and get a reference to all of my downloads. I'm gonna iterate over them, and for each of them, I'm gonna spit out an LI with some stuff in it. Before we get into what goes in here, let's go ahead and get it out of our Livewire component. So when I list downloads, here's where I have my view, and I can pass stuff into my view. And I think this is the same. Syntax that you use in regular Laravel. Again, that's one of the cool things about this is you're kind of writing in the same language everywhere. So I need that downloads variable to contain all of my downloads. So we are going to say illegal download all. Is that right? Cool. And it's pretty cool. It automatically pulled in my download. Here it is. And I'm just going to fetch them all. We'll deal with pagination later if we want to get into all that, but keeping it simple. Okay, so when I render this component, I want to use this view, and I'm going to set the variable downloads equal to all of my downloads. So again, this just grabs my illegal download model, and this all method pulls them all in. And so now when I get here, each download is going to be one of my entries. You also see this wire key. So this wire colon is a syntax you're going to see a lot. So this is just an attribute that you can put on any of your HTML nodes and do stuff with it. So in this case, we're saying with Livewire, we're going to set the key of this item to the ID of the download we're working with. And the reason we set a key is because a lot of that live in-page we're swapping out the components, so that way it knows that if download ID changes, this is the only LI it actually needs to update, and it can keep things in track, or keep track of things. So for now, let's just do this. Let's just put out the title of the download. Very good. Cool. Okay, so we have our list downloads, and then inside of our one view we're working with. Let me go ahead and beautify this. Okay, so within our one view we're working with, we're going to include our component. And again, if we reference the docs, to render the component, all you do is, I kind of prefer the Blade directive syntax, but you can also do this tag syntax. So anyway, we're going to do that. So we'll say Livewire, and our component is called list downloads. Cool. So let's just make sure it's actually loading. We'll do that. When I refresh this, I should see my AZ0000s. Uh-oh. Oh, I didn't. Wait, did I migrate? I think I need to migrate. So I created my. Oh, no, I have it. Select from illegal downloads. Oh, I think I must have named something wrong. Oh, gosh. I always do that. It's always some minor detail. Feel free to say something if you know what I'm getting wrong here. I need to be in my download illegal downloads all. This downloads. It's probably my migration. Oh, this needs an S. That's what it is. Okay, so we'll do our refresh. Not plural. Thank you, Josiah. I just saw it. Okay. Migrate refresh, I think is the command. So that'll do a fresh migration. Oh, what did I do? Josiah, help me. Why is it not still there? Did I not save it? Oh, I didn't save before I reran it. That's my B. That's my B. Okay, cool. Refresh. Cool. Okay, and there it is. So now I have my gobbledygook that I put at the top. Okay, cool. So now we're ready. Obviously, we're not getting anything in our list because we haven't created any yet. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we will go to our add download component, and we're just going to go ahead and throw our form in here. So where is our view? I'm going to go ahead and split this if you guys are okay with that. So add download blade. Again, we're just going to use a form here. So let's go ahead and we'll just create our form. Main thing, input type text. And again, we're using that magical wire syntax. And we're going to do something cool here. So like a lot of these things, you can actually sync. You can use this model, this attribute to say this input is needs to stay in sync with a parameter, a instance of something that's on our class. So in this case, we'll just call this, we'll have the URL here. That's really all we need. And then we'll have another one. And for this one, we'll have it be the title. And just so that we know what this is, I know this is bad accessibility practice, forgive me. Whoops. So we'll put these in here. Also, forgive me, I'm going to use a break because I'm not using any CSS. Add another break, and I mean, yeah, all we need is our URL, our title, and that's it. And then we'll just have a button, which by default, a button inside of a form is going to submit that form. And we'll say add illicit download. And then let's add a little emoji just to remind you of how bad you're being. Cool. Okay, so now we have our form. We have this, so let's go ahead and let's include this inside of our view. So we have our download lists. So above that, we'll have our add download component we just made. Let's refresh this. Hey, look, cool. So there's our form. And it probably won't do anything. Oh, no. I updated it, and it was like, what the heck? There is no URL. So what it's throwing a fit about is that this URL property, which is what I told it to sync to inside of the model, does not exist. So we'll come over to our class, and we'll just create that. So public URL. Cool. Let's go ahead and do it for the title as well. Save that. And now maybe it won't throw a fit. Okay, cool. So it's let me type. And so the reason it threw a fit when I just typed in there, because you're like, I didn't do anything, I just typed. Why did the backend care? Well, anytime that I type, it's going to send a response. So let's type a little more. You can see that it's sending information, sending a request to the backend. And if you look at what's inside of this request, it sends a fingerprint, which tells it which component is getting updated. You know, there's the name of the component, add download. It sends, again, I'm not going to dig into what all these things mean, but you can see that basically it's saying this component has updated. Here's the value of title, here's the value of URL, but more specifically, here's the actual update that happened. So we had a sync input, and you can see that the payload is that my that the property title, its value is now ASDF, SDF, 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 SDF. and its response was, here's some effects, and then a server menu with checksum. I guess this is how it knows it can keep track of stuff. Again, we're not going to get too deep, but what's interesting is that every time I type, it sends a request, which sounds kind of crazy. So we definitely don't need that level of synchronicity between the back end and the front end. So let's go ahead. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and publish this just in case you guys want to play with this as we go. So I didn't cover it, but I also set up a Forge server for this. So if you go to Laravel Forge is like a super easy hosting solution for Laravel projects. So if you go to livewire.slf.io, this is, you can see it's at the state it was before I did all this stuff. So let's go ahead and just commit where we're at. We'll add all that stuff. And then, I don't know. I commit messages. Who knows? Okay. Normally I'm really good at commit messages, but you guys are making me nervous. Okay, so then we'll push that up, and it should auto deploy. So, uh-oh. Hopefully it's because I'm unexpected in a file. What did I do? Works on my machine. Well, who knows how to do like a hard reset of your server? Oh, merge conflict. Merge conflict. Okay, you know what? Let's just do this. F you. Oh. Okay, maybe if I just force it, it won't try to merge. I don't know why it would try to merge. That's just ridiculous. Still doesn't like it. Sorry, guys, I did not expect hosting issues. Isn't there a way to SSH into that Forge? Hey, cool. I got it. So it's already up to date. Well, let's just see what this does. Sorry, guys. It's just the worst. Just the worst. Am I in the right? Where am I? Yeah, it's all there. Huh. All right. Well, maybe you guys won't get to play with it. That's a bummer. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we have, let's say, get reset. All right, let's do this. Get fetch all. Get reset. Origin master. Hold on. Let's look at my stuff real quick. Yeah, good. Okay, origin master is where I want it to be. I'll do that hard. Okay. Okay. oh, I got to run a migration manually now. Oh, I got to delete the table. Guys, I'm so sorry. This is just the worst when this happens. I'll say what I'm doing. Okay, so what happened was I finally got my code back in sync, and this is what happens when you run stuff before you actually do it and then forget to get all your stuff reset. So I'm going to go ahead and delete. So this is the database on the server. I'm going to delete all the tables. I'm going to run the migration again, and then hopefully it will not care. Okay, very good. Hey, okay, go crazy. Okay, so this is up again, livewire.slf.io. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So this is up on the site. Feel free to mess with it. I'll keep pushing as we go, and you guys can play with it. So where were we? How are we doing on time? Good. It's only 7:30. I have till late, I think. Is that right, Mike? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think there should be plenty of time to do more fun stuff. Okay, so we have this set up. Again, I don't think I want this pinging the server because I don't need to do anything with it until they actually submit the form. So in order to avoid our in order to avoid our server from getting overloaded with a bunch of unnecessary requests, we can actually tell it. Hey, let's go to the properties and find that model. Where is it? Actions, maybe. Here, let's just search. Binding directly to model properties. Okay, so this is what we've done. Actually, we'll just go to the reference. That'll be a lot easier. The heck, where's the? Oh, there it is. Reference. Okay, so again, we're going to use this wire a lot, so you can see like with wire click, you can bind things. I'm going to get ahead of myself. I don't want to do that yet. But look at this. You see this dot syntax, so you can do your thing dot something. That's kind of how you like set a property on your property, so to speak. So let's do this. We are looking for this model.defer. Because what this does is it defers syncing the input with the Livewire property until an action is performed. Saves drastically on server round trips. That's what we're looking for because we don't want it updating every time. We just want it whenever an action is taken. And I believe there's a short code that if you run, or a short, or an inferred, I don't know what you call it, but it's basically inferred that if you just put model.defer and you're inside of a form, or you're inside of model.defer is going to wait until the component updates. So that's all we need to do. So now I've saved that. Again, let's come here, and you'll see that when I type, whoops, I hit the wrong button. It's no longer sending a request, which is cool. So let's go ahead and add those, and then let's save. Oh, it didn't do anything at all. All it did is refresh the page because it's just a form, and the form doesn't know what to do. It's just a form. There's nothing special about it. It's just a form. So we need to tell it that, hey, form, whenever you get submitted, we're going to call this action. And we're going to call this break. All right, well, let's call it steal a car. So whenever you submit this form, you're basically stealing a car. And so that's going to be the name of our method here. Steal a car. Cool, so we're done. Let's add an illicit, or sorry. Oh, and what the heck? It's still not doing anything. It's still refreshing the page. That's right, Charlie. It's refreshing the page before my JavaScript can do anything with it. And so what we're going to look at is another nice function here, which is, oh shoot, hold on, where is it? Form, is it not submit? Hold on, I might be tripping, just a sec, let me look at my cheat sheet. No, it's submit. Yeah, wire submit equals steal the car. Oh, I forgot to save it again. Okay, that's my B. Okay, well, in any case, it's submitting and I don't want it to submit. What I need it to do is prevent, which if you've worked in JavaScript with JavaScript events, you know that that prevent refers to prevent default. Cool, here we go. So now that that prevent is there, it's going to prevent the form from submitting. Oh, I'm on livewire.slf.io, no wonder. Let's go to my local one. Okay, cool. So now I can submit. Awesome. I hit submit and it says method doesn't found. Public method steal a car not found on my add download component, which makes sense because there is no, back on my component here, I have no steal a car method. So let's create it. And so again, this is kind of crazy because this is a PHP method I'm defining, but in JavaScript, I'm using that same PHP method. So again, it's kind of mind-bending at first if you're used to keeping these things completely separate. So whenever they steal a car, what we're actually doing is adding this illegal download. So let's do this. We're going to say new download equals new illegal download. So this will create a new model. And then just to be a little more explicit, I'm going to set this new download title equals this title. And so of course this refers to my component instance and title refers to my public title, which again is synced up with this input here. So it's going to say use that title, and then we'll do the same thing for the URL. And let's keep these things in order. Oh, sorry, we have URL in order the other way. Cool, so we do that, and then we use the Laravel method save to save it. And that's it. Cool, so now if I try to steal a car, I'm not gonna wanna type this every time, so let's set a default value. Or wait, is this how you do the default value? We'll find out. Well, actually, we wouldn't do it there, would we? Since it's tied to this component, we'll actually just set it here. So the default URL will be HTTP, assuming it's an HTTP illegal download you want to give me. Cool. Great. So I have it's pre-filled for me, so I don't have to do that every time. Google is kind of my go-to fake URL, so we're just going to download Google. Actually, I don't need to put that in there. And let's add our illicit download. Cool. Did it work? I think it worked. Add download. I didn't get an error, so I guess it worked. Let's go look in our table to see if it worked. So this is the table on my local illegal downloads. Hey, look at that! Here it is. We have our illegal download. Of course. Oh, and look, it echoed out. I forgot we already added that. So, but it's kind of weird. I had to refresh. Why did I have to refresh the page? That's super whack. It's all supposed to be magical, right? Well, I'm glad you asked. So the reason I had to refresh my page is that these are separate components. And so whenever you make a change in this component knows it needs to update itself. But this component out here doesn't know anything happened. And so fortunately, like a lot of these types of frameworks, your components can speak to one another. In Livewire, we're going to emit an event. Here, let's just go ahead and look at this events page here. So there's a lot of ways to fire events. You can fire them using our magical wire attribute. You can say whenever this clicks, emit this event. You can do it from the component itself, or again, global JavaScript, you have access to do all this stuff. Now, obviously, if I emit, as indicated by the fact that we're just calling livewire.emit here, that's going to be a global event by default. So that's just going to be an event that anybody who's listening to, in this case, the post added event, is going to hear that. So it also, fortunately, we don't want to be that. Actually, we do need to do that because these aren't nested. So yeah, we'll just go ahead. You know what? We'll just emit it globally, and we're going to do it from the component. So back inside of on the PHP side of things, after we save it, we want to emit an event, and we'll call it laws broken. Obviously, you should use more, and I hope this isn't overly confusing by me trying to be funny, but you should use more descriptive events that are more related to what we're actually doing. But I'm just poking fun at anti-piracy stuff from like 20 years ago or 15 years ago, however long ago that was. So anyway, we're going to have this laws broken event that we're going to spit out into the world. Cool. So anytime you steal a car, we're going to emit laws broken. So then back in our other component, actually, let's read about how we listen to events. So again, we have this magical listeners property, and so in any component that we want to listen to this event, and again, it's crazy. We're putting this on the in the PHP. We're in PHP, but we're going to listen to a JavaScript event, which again, crazy, just absolutely bonkers. Let's go ahead and do it anyway. So inside of our list downloads needs to know that has updated. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, no, I will come back to it later. Never mind. I was going to get ahead of myself. So whenever this list downloads, here's laws broken. Did I say laws or law? Laws broken. We're going to call this method. And we don't want to we're not going to have a special method to update the render. We'll just tell it to refresh. Shoot, what is there's a special, again, magical, simple, is this it? Let me see, sorry. Oh, refresh. I think it's just $refresh. Yeah, cool. Okay, so there's this magical $refresh, which tells it whenever you hear this event, basically refresh your rendering, which is going to update our downloads list. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's in place. We'll refresh this. We're very good. Let's download Yahoo while we're at it. Add illicit download. And look at that. We added our download. It triggered the event, and then our component knew to update. So you can see that list downloads also updated. And in this case, it just straight up gave us a whole new, it re-rendered the whole component, which is a little overkill. So I wonder if there's a better way to do this. And this might not work, but we'll try anyway. So instead of querying this directly in the, like as I pass it to the view, we'll just make it a public. We'll just make it a public property here, and then we'll do this, and then like any good, again this is whack because I'm in PHP, but I'm going to add a mounted method, even though this is a backend. See downloads. Even though this is running on the server, just madness. Okay, I think mounted is the method. Let's make sure. No, it is not, because it didn't like that. Maybe it's mount. Yeah, cool. Okay, so what I just changed is basically whenever this component is mounted, it goes ahead and saves the downloads, and then it's going to pass in that property to the downloads anytime we render. So now instead, and actually let's abstract this a little further. Yeah, update downloads. I'm not good at typing. Let's do this. We'll do that, and we'll do this. Okay. Cool. So instead of refreshing it, let's see what happens. I have no idea if this is going to work, but we'll try it. we'll update our downloads that we have stored here. So now what's going to happen whenever this law is broken event is emitted, or this component hears that event happen, we're going to call the update downloads method, which is going to modify the downloads property on our instance here, which I'm, fingers crossed, think will update our render method. Let's see if it works. And actually, before we do that, well, we don't have to do it now. We'll come back to that. We just need whatever. Add a listed download. Hey, it worked. Oh, wait, did I refresh first? I don't think I did. Oh, no, it worked. Look, there it is. Let's try anyway. So fda.com, fda, and hey, it worked. So cool. So we added a download, it saved it, and it still updated the whole thing. Never mind, guys. I thought I was being clever, but it looks like it still updates all of it. Well, okay. In any case, we fleshed it out a little further. How are we doing on time? Okay, good. So let's go ahead and make this a little more useful, and I'll push this up so you guys can tool around while I'm talking. So we need a link to our download, obviously, in a new window. Okay, very nice. Oh, we also wanted to downvote it and upvote it, didn't we? Okay, so we'll just add a link here that goes to nothing and a thumb up. Then we'll do the same thing with a thumb down. And then again, using our magical wire attribute, we can say anytime you click this, we're going to call the upvote method. And anytime you click this, we'll call the downvote method. Actually, I don't need those in there. Cool. And then also we want to do that prevent, because we got to prevent default. We don't want them to actually follow our link. And then, okay, cool, we have our link. And let's go ahead, let's make this bigger so it stands out. And within that, we'll also do the upvotes. Or wait, what was our model? So back when we created our model, we have we're counting downloads. We got to count that too. We're going to count downloads. We're going to count upvotes and downvotes. I guess I could just like do votes and just add and subtract that, but we'll just store them separately because that could be fun. So here we'll say download upvotes minus downvotes. Cool. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. You guys, I totally forgot. I don't know why I'm doing this inside of here, and maybe that's why it's actually uploading or updating everything. Instead of putting all this li stuff inside of here, I already made a subcomponent for that. So we actually have a download.blade that this stuff needs to go in. That's my bad. I'm so sorry. I hope you guys forgive me. And our li will be our top level component. And let me beautify that. Whoops. Okay, cool. So nice. Here's our download component. And then inside of this for each, again, we'll use our syntax we use to include these. Our component is just called download. Shoot, I got to set that up, don't I? So we need we need to set up the class as well, illegal download. Sorry, that's our model. The Livewire download is here. We have our view, very good. This needs to have a reference to the instance of our download. And I think that's it. So another cool thing, here, just to be clear, when I called, oh, sorry, I'm about to do that here. We can pass things into our views. We can do the same thing here. We're going to pass properties into our component. Sorry. So our download property, this guy right here, we're going to instantiate that here. So whenever we include, this is including our component, we're going to pass in the specific download we're talking about here. And again, this is wild because this is a PHP. I'm writing HTML that's going to be interpreted by PHP, which is going to spit out some JavaScript. It's just, everything's just stepping on each other. And just, again, just ridiculous, just crazy. So we're going to pass in a reference to that download here, which is going to instantiate this here, which means inside of our view, we'll have access to this as well, which is why we are referencing it here. So by the time we get here, download has already been set because I hope I'm not beating this dead horse, but I passed it through all this. And what's this? I don't know the save all. Oh, I don't have to. Okay. So let's see if this still works. Cool, it's all there. And so I have my new, it actually links out now. Oh, whoops, I have it linking out to the title. Where's my list? Sorry, not my specific download view. I need to link to the URL, not the title. So we'll do that. And then, cool. So now this links out to google.com, this links out to yahoo.com. Very good. And they all work. Awesome. And these are all 0 because everything's 0. Awesome, awesome. Let's do a couple more quality of life. Let's download. You guys can put in actual illegal downloads once I post this. So let's add Facebook. Uh-oh. Cannot read. Oh, this is great. Oh, good. Okay. So you can see we have this error, cannot read property fingerprint of null. And the reason whenever I was working with this, I ran into a lot of these weird fingerprint errors. And if you'll recall, way back before I refactored my list here, I was passing in this wire key thing. And again, that's what this key is used for. It basically fingerprints it so that it knows what's what. And this is great because I think this is going to do, whoops, hold on. Where's my, well, we'll just close that and don't save it. Okay, good. Yeah, Facebook's there. So the thing is, we need that key because that's how it's going to know which, inside of my list view here, that's how it's going to know. It's going to be able to identify which of these components, these LIs, are which. So I'm not, side note, I'm not seeing a lot of chat here, so feel free to weigh in if you have any questions, interrupt at any time. I'm kind of going really fast, and I have no idea if anybody's confused or if you're following along just fine. So don't be shy. Feel free to, if anything's unclear, interrupt me. We got about 10 minutes left, so we'll try to keep this moving. Okay, so there's another, whenever you're including it this way, you actually, there's this key method or function. I think it's like a global helper function that you'll call, and you'll just pass in whatever the key should be. So in this case, we're just going to use the ID of the specific download that we're working with. So now, I should have shown you this before I refreshed, but if I look at these, you'll see these all have a wire. We have a wire ID on everything. So now it knows what's what, and it should have no problem updating it. Yep, and see it added it to the bottom. Very good. And one more quality of life thing. This should clear out when we're done. So that's as simple as going to our add download component, and then after we've saved, let's take our properties. Whoops. Let's take our properties here and set them back to 0, or set them back to nothing. Actually, we probably want to keep the HTTP in our URL just for sanity. Cool. Let's see what happens. So now if I do that, nice, it added it, and these are emptied out, and we're ready for another illicit download. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and breaking laws, BB. Let's commit all that stuff. We'll push it up, And then you all can start putting the real stuff in there. Give me some real good downloads, y'all. Okay. Again, it is livewire.slf.io. Bad stuff. Ooh, that's some real bad stuff. Cool, and it's there. So you guys feel free to jump in there. Infinite Charlies, whoa. Okay, and for now, this is cool. But unfortunately, I have to click refresh to see this stuff changing, which is kind of a pain. Guys, where's my illicit downloads? All I have is Infinite Charlies here. Oh, at least they linked the image. That's good. Very good. Okay. But yeah, I want this to update as people are using it. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and poll. So with polling, whenever you poll in JavaScript, it basically just like every 1 second will ping the server and say, hey, anything new for me? Oh, great. And then it'll update. And it'll just kind of do that in a dumb fashion. Livewire has some cool stuff. Keyboard cat noise. Livewire has some cool stuff where'd my reference? Where we can do we can do wire poll. And so what this will do is it'll just check if the component needs to be updated. So inside of our UL here, and actually, I'm not sure if I can do it on the top level, but we can just say wire poll and 500. I'm sorry. So every runs the foo method every 500 seconds. So I think I can just say refresh. I might not even have to do that. And by default, I think it's once a second. Let's just see if this works. So I'll back on my local here. Let's check our network tab. Yeah, and you can see once a second it's refreshing. Cool. Let's go ahead and, whoops. I'm gonna go ahead and poll. I'll push that so you all don't have to keep clicking refresh. Yeah, and then this is going to, this should start auto updating. You might have to refresh, but yeah, let's see. So I added mine. Cool. I guess here, let's do this. I'll open this in another tab. And then I'll add something here. Let's see if it updates over here. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, so I guess refresh is not a valid. I guess refresh is not the proper thing. Well, let's do this. Let's say Livewire poll refresh, and you can. Oh, you just don't pass anything into it. Just by default, it will update. Okay. Okay, cool. So we got polling. Let's go ahead and add our upvote and downvote real quick. Yeah, so if you try to do that on the live site, you're probably going to get an error. Yeah, it's going to say there is no downvote method. So let's create those real quick. This should look pretty familiar, so we'll just add another method called upvote. And what we can do, oh, sorry, not in the add, I'm in the wrong component. We'll go to our actual download component. So again, this is where it gets printed out. We'll add an upvote method, and it's really simple. All we say is this. Whoops. We say the instance loaded into download. What we want to do is take our upvotes plus them, and then save. Cool. And then we'll do the same thing for downvotes. Nice. It's as easy as that. And so now when I come back here, I can downvote and upvote this all I want. But you know what? We probably don't want to let someone just sit here and upvote. So let's do this. Once they upvote, let's do this. Okay, so we'll have two new methods. We'll say can upvote, which will be true, and can downvote, which will be true. And then once they actually upvote, or actually, we'll just say can vote, because we don't want them to upvote and downvote. We'll just say can vote for now. You could probably do something cooler with that later, but for now, we'll just say this can vote equals false. So once you voted, you can't vote again. And then over here, we can use actually, I think there's a shorthand for if. I like how to not show it. Well, we'll do it this way. We'll just wrap them in a if can vote. Boom. Is that the right syntax? Somebody tell me if it's not. I don't really know Blade that well. I guess we'll find out. Okay. Cool. And see, look, I have voted and now I can't do it again, so it goes away. Very nice. Okay, I'm gonna go and you can push that up. You guys can mess around with that. How's that looking? Cool. Oh, Mike's going crazy with it. I like that one. I don't like that one. No, 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 I'm a hater. Yes, 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 yes. Cool. So you guys should be able to vote on that. Uh-oh, but when I refresh, I can do it again. Oh, well. Actually, you know what? I don't like that. Let's get around that. What do we have time? While we're running out of time. Basically, what you can do. So another cool thing about this that I really didn't get into is, you can just where this really gets fun beyond what we've already kind of shown is you can reference authentication, which automatically syncs on both the front end and the back end. So like if you're authorized in Livewire or in Laravel, you're authorized in Livewire and vice versa. You can check that and get that object anywhere, which is awesome. And again, that falls back on Laravel's existing system for creating different policies and different ways to handle that authentication. And then you can do the same thing with sessions, which is what I was going to do here. Which what you could do is create a session, store it in the session variable if they voted on this specific download or not, which is pretty cool. Oh, I see you guys are. Oh, Mike's ahead. Okay, one more thing. Let's sort this by upvotes. Why not? Let's see. List downloads. Illegal downloads all. Oh shoot, I can never remember this. Laravel query sort. Oh man. Sorry guys, I should know this. I don't know Eloquent very well. So this was my first Laravel project in like 7 years or something. So I've had to do a lot of this. Yeah, I think that's what I want. Whoops. Can I still do all from that? Or wait, that's it, right? And so we'll do, oh, but I can't, let's order by upvotes. So even if it's, I guess that's a downside. I'd have to write something that actually does that subtraction in my query to sort by all of it. Oh, I'm wrong. Collection. Okay, Eloquent. Oh, get. Thank you, Josiah, my man. Do I do it like, I don't do it like that. Oh, I do get, and then order by. Got it. No, that's it's not right either. Josiah, help me out. Oh man. Okay. Order by a then get. Okay. Duh. My B. Cool. And then now we're sorting. We're sorting with gas. And you know, it should update. Oh, it does not update. That's interesting. Oh, because it doesn't. Okay, so yeah, so since this is another example of when we need to omit, we need to resort stuff. So let's go ahead and add our uh, um, criminality encouraged will be another event we listen for upon which we want to refresh. So inside of our download, whenever they upvote or downvote, that's when we are going to, and it's looking like I probably should have combined these into a single method. Is that the right? Yeah, I meant cool. Criminality has been encouraged anytime you participate in this website. So now, oops, did I not save that? Couldn't beautify it any more than that. Thanks, VS Code. Oh, no, I need to update downloads, not refresh. Cool. So yeah, that got updated, and then it shot it up. So let's go ahead and commit that. Deploy it. Very good. All right. So I mean, I think that's it. We could add search. How are we doing? We're a little over. I'll open up the floor for Q&As. Ask them in the Twitch chat if you like, or if you don't have any. If nobody asks any questions in the next few minutes, I will not answer any, and I'll probably just add a search because I feel like that would be pretty cool. So I'm gonna wait for you guys. So while I'm waiting for questions, I'm going to create a new top component here, and I'm gonna whoops, my model is gonna be search, and I'll put a break. And then inside of my list, I'm gonna add a search property, and then we'll say okay, there's probably a better way to do this, but I'm gonna be lazy. So I'm gonna say if this dot search Sterling, if Sterling of this dot search is greater than 0, then we're gonna set it using a search. Sorry, using. Okay. Where, oof. Josiah, give me what I need to do a like on my title. That's okay, no worries. Searching model, is that what I want? Oh, cool, does that work? Nice, okay, yeah, we'll just do that. Okay. So yeah, so I'm just gonna do a little where action where name is like, oh, this is like exactly what I'm doing. Where name is like this search, and you know, I'm sure there's a safer way to do this, maybe not. that what I want? I think that's what I want. And we're not going to poll. I might just have to move this back into the render. Oh, whoops. Man, Mike, they love you. Not me. Okay. Whoops. Oh, I forgot validation. So there's also cool validation stuff. Go check out the reference. I was gonna add that. So you can add rules similar to how you add rules in Laravel, and then you can call this .validate and it'll automatically throw an error, and you can like check that on the front end and spit out your messaging and everything. Pretty dope. Anyway, where was I? No, not happening. I think it's updating, but my problem is that I'm not. No. Well, I don't want to do that too much. We're over time, so I'll call it good. By Charlie. That's great. Thank you to my co-host, Josiah. Josiah says, I enjoyed it. Full stack, stronger on front end. Shied away from Livewire. You helped me with all the backend stuff, so I don't know what you're talking about. You're evidently better at Laravel backend than I am. Did use inertia. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, inertia, I agree. Inertia is a lot more front end heavy. Again, this is like it took me a while to kind of like stop thinking, oh, I'm working on the front end now, so I need to ignore what's going on in the back end. But I think once you just accept the magic that the things you're instantiating on the back end are magically going to also work in your template code, even though it's asynchronous JavaScript, it gets a lot easier. The biggest problems I came across were related to fingerprint issues. And so I found that the more you can atomize things like this, where you nest components inside of components, it's going to work better. Yeah, PHP. Yeah, PHP gets a bad rep, but I think Taylor Otwell has single-handedly turned it around and really done it a lot more justice. And I think, say the language is still can be lacking a little bit, but I think, Laravel's always done a really good job of following other languages in terms of using syntax and some of these nice OOP things you get that was underutilized back when PHP got the rep it got. So, I'll reiterate again and again that Livewire is not for everybody and it's not for every project. But I think in my case, the project I used it on was see you, Josiah. Enjoy Cobra Kai. The thing that I used it on was a project that was just me. It was a rush project that just had to get done real quick. And it really created a lot of efficiencies for me to not have to try and keep these two code bases in sync or have like a big mono repo that was keeping them in sync. And so, again, I think once you kind of get the gist of it and you wrap your head around it, it can be super helpful. And you can do some really cool stuff with it. I think where your trade-offs are probably like performance, like, that can be mitigated a little bit, but you probably don't want to create actual Reddit using this because it's just going to not be very productive. But if you have, in my case, it was an app that's going to be used by it was like an internal CRM type thing, and they have like 20 employees. So the database might grow, but the server's never going to be under load or anything. So anyway, I think that's it. I'll get this posted up on the SGF Devs GitHub, post this and my pre-branch, which was kind of the same thing, just not LimeWire themed. Yeah, enjoy. Like I said, check out the docs. There's a lot of cool stuff we didn't cover, but hopefully you got kind of a sense of what's possible there. I'm going to go. It's just me here. It's so quiet. Infinite Charlies. I'll just leave you with this.